Sweet. So at the moment, we're going to take some drums from our Portland that's racked up in the Euro rack, being fed by Pamela's. So we've got the hi-hats on channel 3, the snare on channel 2 of the STUMM, and the kick on channel 1 of the STUMM. That's all grouped to channel A, so we can mute that there on the group. And then we've got a bass line coming in from the Recombination Engine.
Hello, Sam from Sound on Sound magazine here. I'm at Superbooth in Berlin with Finn from Future Sound Systems. Hey Finn, how's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, really good.
Good.
So you've been working with one of the true legends of the electronic music scene to create a couple of new modules.
Yeah. So we started a collaboration with Daniel Miller, actually at Superbooth last year. Over the last year we've been designing a few modules for him. The first is a mute module called STUMM, and the second is a kind of macro controller called MAKROW. And we've got a bunch of other modules coming in the future as well between us. Slightly, so STUMM, it's a bank of 6 mutes. Each mute has got its own discrete VCA, so we're kind of using that VCA core for future expander modules as well. So you'll essentially be able to use this as kind of like a hub for mainly live performance, kind of switching elements in and out. You'll have fade times, you'll have like control over the VCAs. So yeah, it's quite a deep thing. We've kind of looked at competition on the market and said like, well, what can we offer that's different? This as well has grouping on it as well. That was a feature that Daniel really wanted. So you can very easily, say if you've got like 3 different drum parts, you can assign those to a mute group, mute all the drums at once, or like bring them in and then take just like the kick out, the snare out, one by one. So.
Okay, cool. That sounds exciting. And the MAKROW is one large control, but it does a lot more than one thing.
Yeah. So the MAKROW, you've kind of got this large macro controller knob. That goes through a attenuator per each channel. We've got 6 channels. So you can invert and keep it positive. So with like one control of the dial, you can send like control voltages either way. You've got a CV input to that dial as well, so you can add to that voltage. That is also attenuvertible before it hits the attenuverters. So you've really got complete control over kind of, control voltages within your system.
Wow, cool. And tell us about the 2 new modules of your own design.
Okay, so we've got 2 new oscillators as well. The cyclical engine we've been working on for a while. That premiered last year, but we've brought that up to release now. That's on pre-order. It's kind of like a basic discrete oscillator, but you've got a VCA to each waveform, so you can do interesting amplitude modulation effects. You've got both exponential and linear FM. You've got shape modulation over the triangle, the sine, and the pulse waves. And then we've implemented this inject function, which kind of gives you like intermodulation from like the saw core and other external signals. So you can do really funky kind of weird frequency modulation effects, but it's not quite FM, it's not quite shape modulation, it's somewhere in between. And it really just like pushes the oscillator core in and out, and yeah, it does funky things. So.
Well, that sounds like a ton of fun.
Yeah. And then the Recombination Engine as well, which is kind of our take on doing kind of a complex oscillator. It's a triple oscillator, but it works with the master oscillator, sets a positive and negative region of a waveform. You then have 2 other oscillators playing, one on the positive, one on the negative, and you can change like the pitch and the amplitude of waveforms across those positive and negative regions to form completely new waveforms, all locked into that original square wave. And it gives you kind of like interesting form-anti type effects. You can get very like resonant filter style sounds without needing like any kind of interesting filter banks after it. It does it all in the one box. So plenty of VCA action as well. Again, per waveform and at the master end. So.
That sounds extremely deep.
Awesome, thank you.
So what sort of price point are we looking at for these modules?
So for the cyclical engine, we're at 200 exclusive of VAT. The Recombination is 500 ex VAT. And the STUMM module, we're going for 150 ex VAT, and the MAKROW is 120 ex VAT.
And will these be available now?
So they're coming soon. The 2 mute modules are pre-order now, releasing by August this year. The cyclical engine is again on pre-order, coming out I think 1st of July. We'll probably ship a bit before then though, that's pretty much ready to go. And then the Recombination, we've got to make a few tweaks on that, but we're hoping for winter this year.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Finn.
No problem,
hoping you'll give us a quick demo.
Yeah, of course. And then I can patch some control between our new cyclical engine in low frequency mode. Let's take that into the pulse width and then have the two waveforms skewed with the pulse width. And then I can sweep it a bit more using MAKROW.